Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Strategic Operatives. Today we're going to be working on an SSD build that is meant to rival another SSD. Now I feel like this is going to be a very common theme against Imperial players at the beginning of when the SSD comes out. So we're going to dive right into it. We're actually going to be starting off with the Dreadnought Assault prototype for 250 points. Now this I feel is going to give us the most bang for our buck, and we're going with a purely offensive SSD right now, but I think we're definitely going to need Moff Gergerod for our commander to help us with those clicks, because we're not going to want a nav for most of our time. We're going to want to do concentrate fire as our dials. So for our officers, for 3 officer slots, we're definitely going to want mostly purely offensive. Director Kranth is going to be amazing, and he's going to really synergize well with the Ravager title. And the Ravager title is concentrate fire tokens can either reroll 1 attack die or add 1 attack die to your pool. If you add a die, that die must be a color already in your attack pool. And Director Kranth's ability is pretty simple, and that is while attacking at medium-long range, if you spend a concentrate fire dial, you may also reroll any number of red die in your attack pool. If you spend a concentrate fire token, you may also reroll up to 2 red dice in your attack pool. So when you spend a command dial or a token, you can pretty much trigger both of Director Kranth's abilities and the Ravager's abilities. There's nothing stopping you here thus far. Next, we're going to go to Damage Control Officer. Now, although this is defensive, I think this is a must for an SSD early on, especially with the 2 with the 2 contains. You really need him. Also, I think we're going to need Agent Callus to deal with pesky rogue squadrons, or even here, pretty much any squadrons in general that aren't basic. We're definitely going to need Gunnery Team to concentrate fire out of our front arc and our front 2 sides. We're also going to be giving, we also want counter 1, so quad laser turrets. It's going to give us one blue die against squadrons that attack us. Also, point defense reroutes are going to be amazing against squadrons at close range when we roll those crits that we can't convert or don't have an extra reroll. This automatically lets us do that. Also, we want to do heavy ion placements. Reason being is because this is really going to help drain down shields and make it where their redirects aren't going to be useful, and we could target those braces. Also, you could go with Pulse Overload, but I'm going to go with Leading Shots because we're really going to fish with those red dice for double hits, accuracies, and all like. We're also going to go with Quad Turbo Laser Cannons, which is going to be amazing with our red dice as it is. We're also, instead of giving it spinal armaments, we're going to do enhanced armament. The reason being is because if you look at our Dreadnought Assault prototype, we have 5 red dice in the front. Now with spinal armament, that gives us 6, and in the back it will give us 2 red die. Now with our armament, with our enhanced armament, we will actually get 4 on our right and left side here. Plus, we can trigger the effects of Director Kranth. We can also have the effects of the Ravager, our concentrate fire, our enhanced armament, and our quad turbo laser cannons. And we can get anywhere from 7 to 8 red dice long range out of our side arcs, which is really effective. I think, in my opinion, you're getting more for your points here with enhanced armament than you are getting out of spinal armament. That's just my opinion, but I think this is going to be a really effective way to build the SSD. Right now our total point is at 343, which isn't bad at all. At this point you can add squadrons. I'm not going to do squadrons. Personally, I am not a fan of squadrons in this game. I understand they play some roles, but I think any role a squadron plays, you can have a ship to do that much more effectively. So I just try to I try to build my fleets as much counter as possible, since I do not run squadrons. We're going to run Comnets on this guy. He's going to be passing engineering tokens to engineering or concentrate fire tokens to the SSD, because how the SSD works, if it already has a concentrate fire token on it, when you show your dial and it's a concentrate fire, you can use the token first before the dial, because when you activate the dial, you get a free token with the dial. So essentially, you could get 2 tokens and 1 concentrate fire dial per turn. So that could actually be 3 red dice you could add to your pool each turn for the same hit, or you could divide it up however works in the particular situation you're in. But that's really going to be nice. We're also going to give this Gazanti, for an officer slot, I wanted to do something a little bit outside the box here, something that's really going to make it hard for somebody to hit him with. And we're going to do, if I can find him, Emperor Palpatine. The reason why I want Emperor Palpatine on him is not only does the Gazanti have an evade, which is amazing. You really don't want to hit the Gazanti unless you have 2 shots out of it, or you can lock down the evade. Is also, now having Emperor Palpatine on board makes it to where when an enemy ship or unique squadron declares you as the target of an attack, it must spend one of its defense tokens if able. That's really going to be a pain because I'm going to run this really close and towards my back of the SSD. That means that if you're in range of the Gazanti, you are in range of the SSD Dreadnought Assault prototype, and you want to save your defense tokens as much as possible for the sheer volume of dice this ship is going to roll out its sides, out its front, and even out of its auxiliary. Especially, remember, using the concentrate fire that can add extra 3 dice to any hull. Which even on the back, I mean, you could add 3 more black if you really needed. Also, with your squadron, you could add, you know, three more red. Then you could trigger Agent Callus at long range with your red die and end up rolling, you know, 4 red die and 1 black die, which is crazy against squadrons as well for flakking. So I'm going to stop here, and this is going to actually leave us with a really good initiative of 371. Now you could add a few TIE fighters to this if you're concerned about possibly going up against a Radis build that could shut down, you know, you could shut down those placements behind your SSD that you're afraid of possibly Radis coming in at. But like I said, this is more of a build on SSD versus SSD build, and I'm really excited to actually get into some action against another SSD, which I think is going to be quite common once the SSD comes out. Well, thank you all for watching today, and let me know what you think of this particular build, if you think it's going to be worth anything, if you think this will actually be an effective build against an SSD, or just regular ships in common, or even squadrons. Thank you all for watching today.